In an unknown time and place, there was a peasant woman who had a daughter and a stepdaughter. They lived with the old man, the father of the stepdaughter she had. The daughter had her own way in everything, because whatever she did was right in her. One day, the mother asked the old man to send his daughter away into the field to let the cutting fresh devour her. As the extremely cold weather, the old man placed his daughter in a sledge, not even daring to give her horse clothes to keep herself warm with. The poor girl sat down under a fir tree at the edge of the forest and began to weep silently. Suddenly, she heard a faint sound. It was King Frost springing from tree to tree and cracking his fingers as he went. At length he reached the fir tree beneath which she was sitting, and with a crisp crackling sound he lighted beside her and looked at her lovely face. The King Frost asked her if she felt cold. The poor girl answered politely that she was okay, because she felt quite warm. The King Frost asked her again after several times, but she said she still warm even she felt like crazy because of the cold. It happened many times until the girl had a frozen breath, but still answered the King Frost politely and lovely. Now her gentle, courteous words and her uncomplaining ways touched King Frost, and he had pity on her, and he wrapped her in furs and covered her with blankets. He fetched a great box, in which were beautiful jewels and a rich robe embroidered in gold and silver, and she put it on and looked more lovely than ever. And King Frost stepped with her into his sledge with 6 white horses.
In the meantime, the wicked stepmother was waiting at home for news of the girl's death and preparing pancakes for the funeral feast. And she asked her husband go out into the fields and find his daughter's body and bury her. Just as the old man was leaving the house, the little dog under the table began to bark, saying her own daughter shall live to be your delight, and shall die this very night. The doggy barked on, always repeating the same words. The woman scolded the doggy because she didn't believe the barking saying. And suddenly, the door creaked and flew open, and a great heavy chest was pushed in, and behind it came the stepdaughter, radiant and beautiful, in a dress all glittering with silver and gold. For a moment, the stepmother's eyes were dazzled. Then she called her husband to yoke the horse at once into the sledge and take her daughter to the same field and leave her on the same spot exactly. And so the old man took the girl and left her beneath the same tree where he had parted from his daughter. In a few minutes, King Frost came past and, looking at the girl, asking the same question he had to the polite girl he met before. Surprisingly, this girl answered angrily because of her frozen hands and feet, so that she kept getting only rude, rough words in reply, till at last he got very angry, and cracked his fingers, and gnashed his teeth, and froze her to death. But in the night of her mother was waiting for her return, and as she grew impatient, she had her husband to pick her daughter up, while the doggy barked bad words about her daughter's life again. At that moment, the door flew open, and she rushed out to meet her daughter. And as she took her frozen body in her arms, she too was chilled to death. The end.